Oh, I forgot my earrings. I hate not having earrings when you have short hair, look like a boy. What's up, Roxstars? It's Rox coming to you today with the review for Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 episode. Well, it's the reunion, part 3, you guys. How are we feeling about this reunion? I had such high hopes for it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. It just was whatever. I thought that this last episode was going to be better with the men, but the men was only out there for like 10 minutes. I mean, they showed more of the men in like the preparation clips and like the little break clips than they actually did of the fucking show. And it was mostly about Charles. Anyway, you guys, we'll talk about it. The review. Let's get to it, shall we? I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all. All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It was like you could hear it all throughout the store. This Rox coming to you today with the review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? So the show opened with Portia and Shamia still arguing like they were last week. They're arguing about their moms. Remember when Portia said that Shamia's mom had done something to her mother? Well, Shamia was just like, it was bullshit. You was acting like my mom did something really bad to you. And Portia was like, okay, hold on. Let me tell you guys what her mother did. Apparently the mom had a daycare center. And I guess she had financial problems or whatever the issue was. She ended up closing it or losing it. Okay, I guess it went into foreclosure, the property. I guess Shamia's mom saw the opportunity. I guess the property was available and it was still set up to be a daycare and all of that. And they still had all of the property. I mean, still had all of the stuff inside. So I guess Shamia's mom just seamlessly bought the business. Opened up her own daycare. And Portia's question was, how would you feel about that? I was like, yeah, I think I would feel a way about that. You know, if I had a best friend, thick as thieves, they go and buy my old business behind my back and don't say nothing. Yes, that would be an issue. I saw all the comments. People was like, damn, if you had the money and your best friend was struggling with her business, why didn't you just help the best friend? I mean, that's a lot of an ask. You know, people are not in a position to just give their friends money like that, you know. So I mean, that's not really a fair question, but yeah, that is kind of like behind your back thing. Like, yeah, I would feel away, wouldn't you? Shamia's point was that it was years ago, and Portia said it don't matter, and no, it does not. I'm going to agree on that one. Cynthia was upset, saying that you guys had such a great friendship, and then this is happening. You know, it's just unfortunate. Shamia is still trying to argue her side, okay? But Portia already done got Shamia's number. She wasn't prepared, okay? Because Portia was like, listen, we even have a friend group outside of the show that we all text each other. Even inside of the friend group, the private friend group, you know, they're saying things like Portia is not a good friend, you know, that Portia didn't congratulate Shamia when she got a peach and all of that, you know? And so Portia is like sitting there looking at Shamia like, what you got to say about all this, girl? This is stuff that's really been happening. It's not like I just made this up. So then that's when Shamia says, oh, you were saying that I was screwing Candy and Todd and child. They was just arguing back and forth. Shamia was just trying to come up with a lot of points, but it was hard because Shamia's issues, a lot of it stems from many, many years ago. You know, it's hard for us to even remember I remember the basics of that argument, which was that we were saying that Portia was jealous of Shamia because Shamia was getting married to the African and that was the life that Portia wanted. Remember, Portia said she was sick and couldn't fly over there and all of that. We remember that part, but we don't really remember all of the things that was being said, the chatter and social media, you know, not like word for word. So Shamia is like talking about things that have happened in the past, and then she's still trying to talk about stuff that's happening. I told you guys, this was just a bad reunion for Shamia. She could never really get her points out. And it was because her issues spanned so long. A lot of them ladies weren't even there when the shit was going on, you know. So it's hard for Shamia to really, you know. I was just like, girl. So Portia wants answers. Shamia can't really give them. Even Kelly says, Shamia, I was hoping that you would have this moment to tell Portia how you really truly feel. That's really been the theme of the whole night. All of the ladies keep telling Shamea, like, girl, this is the time. Go on and say it. Go on and say it. And Portia's just sort of sitting there like, yeah, girl, go on and say it. Because Portia feels like, I know what our relationship is. These ladies don't. So, yeah, go on and tell me what it is, since you let these people tell you something. As they're going on and on, Cynthia finally steps in and says, listen, Shamea, I think that it's obvious that you guys love each other. There's a friendship there. There's love there. However, you were hurt. And you never healed from the hurt. Like, you haven't gotten over it. You probably told yourself that you did, but you haven't. And so it's okay to be hurt. Like, you keep on saying, like, I moved on, or, I'm not going to say nothing and all that. And that's not really the way to be either. The point is, if that really upset you, then you should have let Portia know. Like, truthfully, instead of, like, saying it within these private friend groups. As Cynthia ain't said all this is me. But I'm saying, like, if it was truly something that you felt like something that needed to be handled and it pertained to the show, they should have probably sat down, really, truly tried to sit down and talk before the show and get some of Shamea's feelings out, because some of Shamea's feelings were valid, but everything got smushed over this season, and that's too bad for Shamea. Like, I still see hope for Shamea, but she didn't really quite work this season as good as she could have. But I think the bottom line is that even though Shamea has let the social media chatter like really affect her, and even us as vloggers, we've been saying it for years, like, if you truly know your friendship, then you need to try to stand in it. That's hard though, when you have millions of people that's weighing in on your friendship. So, I mean, I understand, but yeah, but anyway, we get past that, because it's really nothing is going to get resolved from the Kandi and Portia thing. I mean, Kandi and Portia. The Portia and Shamea thing is gone on a long time, and it's so complicated because their friendship spans back years before the show. So it's hard. That's something that's not going to get resolved at all. Really, honestly, I feel like it's not going to get resolved, but it's definitely not getting resolved today. Before we move on to Drew's package, we see the men in the back, they getting prepared, the super back there getting shaved. He said he just gonna go on there and say what he gotta say and keep it moving. All right. I was like, oh yeah, the men about to come out there. It's really about to be something. Child was out there 10 minutes. Anyway, Drew's package comes. Okay. Of course, it's about Ralph being in the basement. Ask her about the divorce, how the kids doing, and she says, well, she finally put the kids in therapy because she had realized that shit had been so dysfunctional for so long that she was starting to accept it as, normal. And it took her mother to come there to see, no, this ain't normal, girl. Nothing is normal about what's going on here. Okay, you just done got used to it, but this is a mess. Your kids is out of control. Okay, so she put the kids in therapy. Andy said, well, Ralph said that after your father's death that your mom spent up all the money and that he had to go and bail her out. And, Drew was like, yeah, I know that's what he said. That's a new low for Ralph. First of all, that's not true. Secondly, my mother had a nervous breakdown. Like, there's so much stuff going on. She's worried about what's going on with me and my kids and my family and all this. I was just like, Drew, you ain't even had to explain all that to you for your mama, because I think that Drew this is actually, there are a lot of people that believe Ralph. I don't believe Ralph. I look at Ralph and I just look at him and I just think that he is a fucking con artist, liar. Not actually a con artist. I think that he is just a liar. Drew too, but Drew's lies and Ralph's lies is different for me, because Drew's lies kind of are like harmless. I feel like Drew lies about things to make herself look better. It's an esteem issue there. I think that Ralph lies. He lies to control things. He lies to manipulate her. He lies to gaslight. He does all this. I don't believe shit that comes out of Ralph's mouth. He is a pretty face. So when Andy said that, you guys posted that video, you guys cooking together, and she was like, yeah, that's because we were getting along fine. Like, we was cooking, we were getting along fine. Then he gonna go and post, she called me daddy or something like that. When I saw the video, I actually thought that was cute. I didn't think that, first of all, I didn't even think he was being serious when he said she called him daddy. Okay, but apparently Drew didn't like that. I mean, I understand why she wouldn't like him saying that in the middle of all this. But, he was, I took it as a lighthearted moment. I thought that was a good sign that these two are getting along. But she was just like, no, that's still more of Ralph just trying to make it look good for everybody. Ralph only wants to look good. But I feel like Ralph just be over there just doing whatever. And because Drew lies simple little lies and things, like the Michael Jordan thing, for instance, where she's like, you guys need to learn how to laugh. You know, it was a joke. But even though she wasn't really making it seem like it was a joke when she said it, you know, but those are the kind of things, like, those are harmless. That don't matter. We just be like, oh, that's just one of Drew's lies, you know. But Ralph doing things that affect her reputation, saying that she's out there sleeping around and doing things like that, that's the part, you know, him saying, well, let me just hold on. But of course it's a divorce, so shit is gonna be messy too. So, you know, when Drew is talking about Ralph having a woman come to the house, you know, well, you guys don't live together anymore. You know, I guess in the judge's mind, the basement has a separate entrance. There's no reason that he needs to come to the house through the house or anything. So separately, I mean, you guys don't really technically live together, even if it's in the same building. Let's act like this is an apartment, okay? Keep the basement door locked, and that acts as a wall. So I guess the judge is just sort of like, I mean, you know, Ralph can have women there if he wants to. But, you know, it is kind of tacky. I would hope that Drew ain't dragging niggas up into her bedroom. Ralph wouldn't like that shit either, you know. So that's why I'm just like, Ralph is just like, ugh. I don't care how much Drew lied, okay, and get up there and look pitiful and do whatever. I'm never gonna believe all the words that come out of Ralph's mouth. A viewer asked why the ladies don't give Drew as much grace as they give Portia. Well, I mean, because Portia's an OG. She's an old, loved, favorite housewife. She's gotten away with a lot of things. She'd just work out for Portia, you know, and people really like Portia, and people don't really like Drew. That's why. I mean, that's an easy answer. Is it fair? No, but that's how the world is. That's how it goes. Okay, why couldn't Kelly and Drew work it out? Kelly was just like, I was hoping that we could figure out something. Drew was like, girl, you came at me spicy. Kelly did come on the show looking like she was going to try to come at some of the older housewives, okay? She immediately latched on to that, is, you know, why did Portia steal that woman's husband? You know, she was kind of just confronting people and saying whatever the hell she wanted to say. Kelly was like, well, you lied, said that you came to the Bowman event. Okay, so let's discuss this event. So when they went to the event, Drew said that she saw something that she wanted to buy, but they didn't have her size or the size that she needed. So she was working with the SA to get it ordered. And the SA did order it, and Drew assumed that order was going towards the... Well, I don't even know if Drew said that, but I think that Drew would have just automatically assumed that this purchase that she bought was going to go towards the sale. But that was incorrect. That did not go towards, the foundation, the money raising that they were trying to do. So Drew assumed that it was, but it didn't. And so Kelly was like, you did not buy anything. So see, these are the things also that frustrates us with Drew. Drew will find a loophole within the lie that has the truth in it, and then she gonna stand on business 10 toes down on that. So Drew is just like, I did buy something, it just wasn't at the event. I see where Kelly is confused. Like, girl, I mean, nobody ever told me that you bought something. Like, this is a misunderstanding, but what I'm saying is that Drew, these are the kind of things that Drew does. She'll find like a little piece of something in it, but the rest of the shit will be a fucking lie. So, I mean, I guess you can count that as a misunderstanding. Then they confront Shamia about the comment that she made that Drew said about, oh, you know, she's making so much money that Dennis is going to have enough money to pay for the baby's college tuition. Shamia told Portia in a funky way, you know, that Drew said the college statement. We all knew when we watched that scene that it was not in that funky way, that she was joking. Okay? The way that Shamia told it to Portia, not so much. So Portia was just like, yeah, you know, Andy, I was upset when she told me that. Well, she didn't say when she told me. She was like, you know, Andy, I was upset when it was relayed to me like that. But when I did watch the episode, you know, it was cringy, but it didn't upset me. Yeah, because it wasn't like that, you know. So again, these are the type of the things that Shamia and Portia, you know, Portia was just looking at Shamia like, okay, so what you got to say about this girl? And Shamia just sitting over there on the ropes, child, bobbing and weaving. So now Shamia is starting to feel offended, you know. So she was like, you know what, I'm just not going to say nothing. I'm just keep my mouth shut and I'm not going to say nothing. And Andy was like, no. Don't keep your mouth shut, because that's the reason why we are where we are today. Because you've been keeping your mouth shut, but you've been running it in secret behind people's backs. One of the viewers said, Shamia, you got mad being called a lap dog, but that telling Portia what Drew said was lap doggish. And she was just like, well, of course, because, you know, if everybody gonna keep calling me a lap dog, now you start agreeing with the people. I said, girl, you just, Portia Mia, you just agreed that the people was calling you a lap dog? I guess she was just like, if you gonna call me a lap dog, I'm gonna act like one. Then they talk about Ty and these 3,000 minutes that, you know, they said that she had talking back and forth to Ty, and everybody was just like, oh, that is a lot. She said 3,000 minutes is really not a lot. I wish that I would have calculated this, because I guess I could in my mind. Do I feel like sitting here? 3,000 is 60 minutes, is 50. That's like 5 days, 50 hours. Child, I can't even think about it right now. Is that 50 hours? 50 hours, 60. Yeah, I think that's, no, that's not right. I can't think of it in my mind right now, you guys. But yeah, you know, 3,000 minutes really, when you think about it, that don't sound like that's too many minutes. Think about when you used to buy minutes when you had your cell phone, okay? That's not a lot, but 3,000 when you think in minutes, you know, I mean, that does sound like a lot. But I mean, I guess that's not. She said that's about 10 minutes a day. Then they mentioned the black guy that Drew is supposed to be dating. Now, I've been hearing this name Black all this time and had never put together who this person was, didn't even really care, okay? But then when she said, yes, that's her friend Black, she's not dating them, they're just friends. And then she said, yeah, the hookah giant. I said, oh, him. I know who he is. That's the guy. That's Super Sense. One of her friends, one of her really close friends, you know, the guy, I think he lives in Texas, in like Houston or something, but he has a huge hookah business, okay? And, you know, every time, I remember him because all of his posts, you know, it's always this big, long, elaborate speech about how God has blessed him and, you know, he can do all of this for the people, but he didn't used to be able to. And I mean, you know, he seems like he's a cool guy. I'm not hating or nothing, but it'd be a whole lot of dramatics about like all of the stuff. It'd be big elaborate videos of him gifting shit and big, you know, his company and all. Child, it'd be a whole lot. It'd be a lot, child, it'd do. But that's the guy. I said, oh, you know, so she actually gets up and gives everybody his hookah. I said, oh girl, that was some great promotion for that guy. I know people probably was ordering his damn hookah back last night. He might have had a sale. His discount code could have been Drew. Child, if Super would have been on it, she would have done it, because that girl markets anything that comes up. She have a sale with the crayon case. And child, she'll use whatever the damn scandal is as the code, honey. If he didn't do that, he needed to. Anyway, I cracked up when Drew starts talking about how how Dennis wasn't her friend. You know, she was trying to be nice about it, but she was just like, sort of like, look at Dennis and look at Ralph. Like, he is not even my type. And Portia was just like, wait a minute, hold on now. Black ain't even all that. And Drew was like, what you said? I said, Black ain't even all that either. I said, not either, Portia. Drew was just like, how you gonna talk about me? She said, well, how you gonna be talking about mine over here? Like, you talking about my friend? I'm talking about your friend. But, you know, then they had the funny little banter about Ty and how, you know, Portia. Drew was like, girl, I done heard about you. I done heard about Portia out here in these streets, too. And Portia was just like, honey, listen, if I can find me a Ty, honey, she'll be sitting right behind me. I was like, you probably would. You probably left a few in your wake. Drew said, I heard about you out there in Buckhead, you know, with the Africans. Portia just like, oh, you know me, I love my Africans. I love that Portia can laugh at herself, though. She really can. Anyway, commercial break. We see the men again. I said, when these fucking men coming out? Well, the men finally do come out. And we have Ralph, Dennis, Charles. Ralph, Dennis, and Charles. Yeah, those are the ones there, because really nobody else has men. Cynthia's man wouldn't be there. Shamia's husband didn't come. Kelly's divorced. Yeah, that would it. You know, the only other husband that would have been there would have been Britt's, and Britt, you know, wasn't there either. So I was pushing the button if you guys saw me looking crazy. So anyway, Dennis is there, you know. Oh, Dennis, look at you, and you're not even matching Portia. Portia, you know, I called him every this morning, told him why he didn't dress the same. You know, ha ha ha. Ralph, good to see you, and you have a shirt on. I know that makes Andy very sad. We know that Andy has a crush on Ralph. Okay, and Shamia, where's Issa? Okay, he at home with the kids. And then Charles. Oh, Charles, we never thought in a million years on Real Housewives of Atlanta that we would have the enforcer here. And he was just like, oh, well, you know me. I'm just here to support my wife. I was like, oh, I almost hear Little Country Bumpkin. A little bit. Where's Charles Oakley from originally? I know he played in New York and everything. But, baby, that route came on through. I heard it. He was just like, oh, I'm going to kill it. You know, Portia was just like, oh, we going to kill you. And he was just like, oh, well, whatever. Come on, bring it. Bring it here, bring it. You know, Charles said he ready. He ain't scared of y'all women. Bunch of silicone and makeup. Angela down there just nervous, giggling and everything. Like, Andy, come on, move this on along. Okay, let's try to get Charles in and out with no problems. They've been working with Teresa since 2017 and shit been on track. We don't need this show to throw shit off. So he does, you know, he asked Dennis, like, did you talk to Portia about working with Drew? And he was just like, yeah, sort of. I mean, I said something to her, but I was more concerned about Ralph. You know, Ralph is my homeboy in real life. So I wanted to make sure Ralph was good. Portia was just like, oh, you talked to me about it? You know, because Portia was like, I don't really remember us talking. And he was just like, I mean, something, but that really was on Drew to talk. He felt like that was on Drew to talk to Portia about it. I was just like, I mean, if everybody was cool and friends, you know, Dennis probably thought that it was a casual thing, and maybe Drew would have mentioned it to Portia. Like, still, they trying to make something out of this connection, and it's nothing. It's just so obvious, you know, and that's why Dennis is just sort of like, I don't care. Like, I don't give a fuck. As long as Ralph know I ain't trying to fuck his wife, you know, that's all Dennis cares about. And Drew is still saying that the superintendent said that he had spoke to Portia about it, and, you know, Portia's like he didn't. So, I mean, that's just, okay, we in the circles. Nobody talked about it, and Portia got mad. The text message where, you know, Portia read out on the show when I told you guys that, to me, this sounds like the text message, you know, just depended on the tone, how you perceived it. Because to me, it just sounded like he was like, I ain't said shit about give me some ass. I want some money. Okay? Or whatever he said. Something like, no, Drew said she ain't giving up no ass. You know, she getting this music or whatever. But it was in that kind of spirit. Ralph said that he saw the text message too. And that's exact, you know, that it did say something along the lines that Drew was trying to sleep with Dennis and all that. And again, I don't believe nothing that Ralph says. So Drew, at least as this reviewer, you ain't got to worry. Ralph is a fucking liar, girl. And I don't believe shit the nigga say. Why would Drew say these kind of things knowing that she's in the middle of a divorce and knowing that she has a Ralph that she's dealing with? I mean, she would be shooting her own self in the foot. I love the fact that Drew was like, you're not going to come in here. Every time you come to this reunion, you come here and you lie. I really hate that they give Ralph so much leeway. But that's, again, because Andy has a crush on Ralph. Because Ralph should not get all this. You guys are getting a divorce. Ralph shouldn't even be on the fucking show, really, honestly. Okay? He don't have nothing to do with nothing no more. But he's still there just to fuck with Drew's life. They asked Dennis about him trying to talk to Kelly. You know, Kelly, I was like, Kelly, don't get cute. Because Dennis one of them niggas that will embarrass you. He don't give a fuck if you a woman. I can tell. I can look at him and tell. And so he was looking at her like, I mean, tell the whole story. Okay? I was in her DMs and everything, but that was way before Portia. And then she finally said, oh, yeah, and it was on some business stuff. It was some business stuff. I was just like, Lord, but that Dennis, he been out there in these Atlanta streets, huh? And Dennis love him a woman. But back to Drew and Ralph, you know, him talking about the lady coming to the house and how she didn't come in the house and all. That's the kind of stuff when I say that he gaslights Drew. Like, yeah, I had a woman come over, but she didn't come in the house. You know, she was just over, you know. It's just like, you really are making me look stupid. You think that I'm a fool. You think I'm stupid. Are you know? That's why Ralph frustrates me so much, because I can't stand a nigga that make you think that you ain't got no damn sense. He has too much voice as a divorced husband. But then we go back to Charles. How did you think Angela did? He said, oh, she did great. She jumped in the pool. Now she got to swim with the sharks. They asked him about being nice to her, you know, about not being nice to her on camera. Charles was just like, I knew what he was going to say. He was just like, well, I just don't put on for the camera. I mean, you know, I love Angela. She knows I love her. Like, we have a real marriage. And then we do a rousing round of who knew Charles on this show. Turns out Charles didn't know nobody on the damn show, even though we've had plenty of ladies say that they knew Charles. You know, Shamia said that she knew Charles. Phaedra said that she knew Charles. Okay, this is how things work in Atlanta. Like when you talked about people in circles and things, and folks be like, oh yeah, I know that person. Oh yeah, I know that person. Oh yeah, I know that person. Okay. Today they use those terms no just because you've been around them, but that don't necessarily mean that I know you. Even Charles being a celebrity, Charles is an NBA legend. So Charles meets many people. I'm sure he takes plenty of pictures with thousands of people. We cannot say that everybody that Charles meets can say that they know him. And that's Charles's point. He's just like, I mean, they was at the, you know, Shamia was like, I met you at a wedding and such and such. And he was just like, yeah, I mean, we was at the wedding. They showed the pictures. That's proof still, but that still don't prove nothing. It might have to a person that wasn't a celebrity like Charles Oakley, but if it's Charles Oakley, again, Charles meets millions of people, you know, I'm sure. So, you know, that you can't say that. And it was the same with Phaedra. She was like, well, I knew you from when you dated Sheree. And he was like, but I don't know you. Like, you knew I dated Sheree, but no, I don't know you. We could have been at the same parties. We could know the same people, all of that. I could have even sat and had a little quick chat with you. That still don't mean I know you, you know? So Charles made his point there. Charles was just like, why everybody got a problem with me? Okay, as a husband, I'm the only husband here. Like, where your husbands at? Yeah, ain't nobody married. Shit. You still trying to figure out why they housewives at this point. On to the baby story. Charles tells the same story that Angela told, you know, that Wendy Williams blew it up. Then they start going back and forth about how Wendy invited him over for wine and how Wendy is his friend and he would have went. And Angela was like, oh, but you was gonna go. And then he was just like, I mean, I like wine, you know, so everybody got a good giggle. I mean, Charles, I like him. Talked about the MSG event, how it was tough on them. You know, again, Angela said it was tough. You know, they did go to therapy and they still continue to talk to the lady. Okay, so that's why we need to wrap this shit up, Andy. And let's let the men go. Anything else y'all want to clear up with the men? Kelly asked Ralph, did her husband say anything ill about her to him? And he said no, he didn't. Okay, and then Ralph, any last words? Ralph says, you know, Drew, I know that we done been through our thing on this show and everything, but at the end of the day, we got two beautiful kids together, and I just want us to be, you know, started with that shit. And Drew was like, those are nice words, and thank you for saying them. However, Drew knows that shit is just for this television, because Ralph will sit up there and smile and act like he gonna do something 100% different. That nigga will turn around and it'll be something totally else out in them real streets. Yeah, Ralph is foul. It's okay, Drew. Some of us see him. Some of us see him. Then Kelly gonna say, I think it's really good that you, Drew, that you have a man that takes care of his kids. You know, so I commend you for that. And he was like, I appreciate you for that. And I was like, hold up. We not fixing to be rewarding niggas and commending them for taking care of their damn kids. Do you get thanked every day for taking care of your fucking kids as a woman? Come the fuck on. Like, that really, in 2025, we still saying shit like that? No, we don't. That is not good. You supposed to take care of your fucking kids. Anyway, I'm over it. Get these men off the damn stage. We didn't even really need them. Then after the commercial, they come back, and now it's time for the close. So, you know, Andy likes to go around and just have allow the ladies to say something, final words. He was happy that Drew and Portia was able to get their friendship back on track. And Drew said, yeah, she appreciated that the grace was extended, you know, that they apologized and they're going to move on forward. Kelly said that she hopes that Portia and Shamia is able to rekindle their... Kelly, why are you worried about what the fuck Portia and Shamia got going on? What is what you want? Kelly is trying to make sure that she bring her ass back to the show. Okay? I see the rumors. I see they're saying K. Michelle and slutty vegan Pinky Cole. They're saying that those are the new two people. That's what Kenya put out there. We don't know if that's true. You know, it's always rumors during the reunion time. But I can kind of see there might be some truth to this rumor. I'm going to have to try to reach out to some of my contacts to see what the fodder is. But it's still, to me, I feel like it's too early. Okay, reunion, you know, once we get past the reunion, now we're past it, we're going to start seeing who starts showing up filming. So when Kelly said, when she said Andy looked at Portia, he said, that was nice. And Portia was like, it was. I cracked up. Phaedra, how did it feel being back? And Phaedra said it was a wild ride for 2 weeks. And I was like, hold on. It was only 2 weeks that Phaedra, I think I knew that Phaedra was only back for 2 weeks. But when you really think about this season, Phaedra was on half of the season, basically. She came in the last maybe 6 episodes or whatever. They only had 17 episodes. So she was basically there almost half of the season. That lets you guys know that they didn't really have much footage. They didn't have much. They had to stretch. I'm actually amazed that the producers was able to come up with a season with what they did, because if Phaedra was only there for 2 weeks, they brought Phaedra in right after that incident happened with Kenya. They've been holding on to this shit for so fucking long. And now we know why, because they had to try to make a season out of the little bit of shit that they had. That's amazing, actually, that they made a season. That shit is amazing. Bravo, Real Housewives of Atlanta producers. I know I'm just a girl sitting in her backseat of her car, child, but I see y'all. Angela said that she was actually happy that she was able to film with her mother. You know, at least that was captured on TV. They all thank Cynthia for keeping the train moving. And yes, Cynthia was a welcome, nice, soft, easy, familiar. She was somebody that we needed. Cynthia was the perfect choice. And she thanked everybody for the grace that was extended and the respect to her as well. See, that should have been Nene. If Nene hadn't fucked up and offended them people, the stuff that they are giving to the accolades, shout out to Nene, and the grace that they are giving to Cynthia, that's what Nene could be getting. Nene could be sitting up there as the grand OG housewife if she wouldn't have fucked it up for herself. This is the shit that frustrates me from Nene. She should have been there, but just like she never will. I know you guys are hoping Nene will never be back. It never will happen. Shamia said that it's been amazing being on the show, that she would be friends with any of these girls anytime. I was like, oh, Shamia, is that right? Or are you just saying what the people want to hear? Is that what you truly feel? Okay. And then lastly, Portia, what did you think? And, she's like, Andy, I can just truly say, that it has been a beautiful season, and thank you everybody for it. But Andy, you didn't get to come to my birthday party, and I wanted you to be a part of it. So where them fans at? So Portia, they had some fans made for the housewives, and we gonna get up and we're not gonna play where them fans at, boots on the ground, okay? Because apparently, obviously, Bravo didn't want to pay for it, but they played some old country, little twangy, whatever the fuck it is, and the ladies all stand up. Now we've been fighting and shit, but now we gonna do boots on the ground. So they all clicking the fan, like click, come click, Andy, click, click, and the show ends. Child, I stop watching the show and log on to Instagram, and the first thing I see on Ice Cream Convos is that Shamia has issued an apology to the ladies for season 16. I didn't read the apology, but I saw that and I was like, poor Shamia. They say that Shamia has taken the RHOA out of her bio on Instagram, like out of her social media bio. So people are saying that Shamia's not coming back. I think that Shamia is probably emotional right now. It is hard. Reunion time is hard. A lot of the housewives will tell you that usually their first reunion, they don't do well. Okay, we thought that it wouldn't have been so hard for Shamia because she's been to reunions before, but it's different being a housewife, obviously, than being a friend of the show. So I think that Shamia, even though she's emotional, she's upset, she's probably embarrassed and all this, and have some conversations that she needs to have with her husband and all that. I think that she could still come back and redeem herself. I think that she can still come back and try to fix these issues next season, and that as long as her and her husband can be on the same page, she should try to come back for just one more season to try to because look what this season did for Drew. Okay, like Drew still ain't my fave, but I think that a lot of people see Drew differently after seeing how some of these other ladies behave, and so Shamia can have that same kind of thing too. So if it's true that they're going to bring, that the producers are thinking about bringing all the ladies back, I think Shamia should really try to come on back, child. Okay, so that was my TED talk on that. Then scrolled up and saw that nigga Ralph didn't release the fucking song, child. Ralph Pittman. Did we know he sang? I know that they said he worked in music and everything. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not that far-fetched because he plays the piano. So it's not, you know, usually people that are musicians, a lot of times they can sing as well, or at least keep a tune. And that's what he's doing. You know, you hear the song. What's the name of the damn song? Did I write it down? Wish You Well. This nigga's even getting on Drew's nerves in song, okay? Why you out here in this woman's lanes? You ain't no singer, but you made a song. I wish I would have took, I actually did screenshot the words, but I didn't, because I had a feeling this video was going to be long. I could have read it to you. But child, he's saying the same shit that he was saying on the show, on the fucking song. I said, that Ralph, oh, I know Drew probably hates the day she met him. I mean, well, she had her kids, so I can't say that. But I know she probably is just like, this nigga got his motherfucking nerves. I wish you well. Really, Ralph? Oh, that Ralph is something else. Anyway, you guys let me know what you thought about the reunion. We got a break. I don't have no shows really in August to be reviewing, but then we have Reasonable Doubt and Tommy's show is coming back. So those are the two shows that, you know, we waiting on to come back. August is going to be light. Maybe I'll add some political videos, even though I'm not really looking forward to that, but maybe we'll add some shit in. Okay? But yeah, y'all let me know what you thought about the reunion. All right, you guys, that's that on that. Make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Roxanne. The channel is itsrox, and everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, I'm getting hot, you guys, rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Roxstars. Bye.